welcome back to the Anderson Bros Outdoors. I'm Jake, and today we're going to go over this. What is this? It is the SCX10 Pro. So, a couple of things before we get started. The kit was designed to be a easy to go to competition kit. Price is $429. I actually weighed the box, so everything unopened, the box weighs 4.4 pounds. Supposedly Axial spent a year developing this this chassis and everything that goes with it. So I did, as you can see here, I did put it together. I did use some leftover parts that I had laying around to make it, we'll say, runnable. So these are Vanquish Phoenix stock rims and tires. The ready to run Vanquish motor and ESC, and then I have a Traxxas radio and receiver. And then for the servo, I have the stock Vanquish servo. So I didn't want to put anything crazy in it for now. I just kind of wanted to do a quick overview and see how capable it was with, we'll say, middle of the road, low to middle of the road performance parts, right? So these are definitely not the worst things you can buy. They're definitely not the best things that you can buy. So with that being said, the first place I want to start is the unboxing and the assembly, right? So I do have footage of building it completely end to end. It is boring, time consuming, and I'm sure everyone has already seen it, so I'm not going to add it to this video. I might add it later. If you want to see it, comment below and I will compile it and throw it up as a raw. So yeah, let's jump into it. So again, it is a base kit that you're supposed to put together yourself. It does not come with the body, the wheels, tires, electronics. It's really just the chassis and with the exception of no body, right? So the price is $429.99, as you can see here. And yeah, we'll dive into the process. So first of all, here's the book on how to put it together. There are instructions here. Personally, I think I don't know. I think that there's some things that I would add. So really, in some of the areas where it's either chassis or axle mounted servo, I would highlight that in bold, because you don't really know, right? I mean, it kind of tells you, it kind of doesn't. I don't know. There's some blatantly obvious things that it's missing, and it would be very nice to know that, hey, you need to make sure that this, specific thing goes this specific way. Axles, prime example. So these little axle attachments here, you have to make sure that you have the bigger hole on the plastic side on the outside. Otherwise, you're not going to be screwing into it. You're going to be screwing into the small hole, and it's not actually going to cinch up that. So it's very easy to get those confused. So you do really have to pay attention to what you're doing. And again, some notes stating that would be great. Another thing, during the installation, right? There's the diagrams there are some things that are missing from some of the diagrams. I don't think that there's an exploited view of the front axle with the servo mount on it, which I would like to see. And then, yeah, so as far as assembly directions, I think that's really what I wanted to hit on. And the only reason I'm being this nitpicky is that Axial has been around for a very long time. They have a lot of build kits, and they have the funds to be able to perfect a product. I don't want to see something that is half-baked, especially for $430. Like, I could go buy a Phoenix RTR for $480 and buy a Rock Pirate chassis kit for another $100 and I'd have the same truck that's just as capable, except I would also have dig and overdrive, which you're only getting underdrive here, but I digress. Anyway, so let's continue on. With the underdrive comment, you do have underdrive in the back of the transfer case. I actually don't have all of the parts for the underdrive. It is missing from the kit, so I will have to source something or figure something out there. Just kind of an FYI on that. And then the other really nitpicky item that I have is right up here. The spur gear actually rubs on the servo mount, which is awesome. So, you know, again, what if this kit was $100 less or more, like between $300 and $350, I wouldn't be complaining, right? But at $430, like, this better be pristine. So, finally, let's talk about the axles. So the axles really are what a lot of people want for this kit. They want the metal tubes, right? So, unfortunately, I think that the mark was missed here. So the way that these axles go together, they're 3-piece axles. You have 2 metal tubes that go into a plastic pumpkin. The way that the axle tubes are held into the pumpkin is with 2 set screws, 2 little set screws. And when you screw these set screws in, you can't actually get the axles in. So you have to have the set screws mostly out in order to get the axles in. And it is potentially, the set screws are potentially binding the axles. Not to mention, I don't know that the pumpkin is actually completely flush or how it should be, because in order to get 3 of the 4 axle shafts into the axle tubes and pumpkin, I had to unscrew the set screws all the way and manipulate the tube a little bit to get it shoved in there. So, again, what's really going on? Yeah. So those are really the major pain points that I had building this truck. You know, overall, the rest of it, I mean, it's all molded plastic. It does have the stamped frame. Has the metal, got the metal panhard mount, but you've seen all of this stuff. You know what it's all about. So I'm not going to bore you with those details. I've gone over the bad stuff. You know, the good. Yeah, it's supposed to be a competition chassis. So right out of the box, you should be able to put a hard body on it, make it class 1, or make it class 2 friendly. So with that being said, you know, is it worth it? Personally, I don't think so. So realistically, you know, for the money, I would have expected some, you know, a body and wheels and tires or something, like something additional, and then also a more refined product. It's almost like somebody challenged Axial to make the cheapest, highest margin build kit that they could, and Axial said, "Hold my beer," and they did it. And they probably have $100 in materials and overall cost in each chassis, and they're selling it for like a huge markup. So that's just what I see when I look at this. I mean, the only metal parts on this truck are the axle tubes, the chassis, the panhard mount, and the links. I will say the transmission gears are metal, but that's it. I mean, everything else is plastic. So, I mean, what are you really paying for here? Personally, I would much rather have Vanquish axles. I would rather have the plastic Vanquish axles over these metal ones, honestly. They're one piece, and I promise you they're more sturdy than this plastic pumpkin that is holding these 2 metal tubes together. So I'm not trying to be controversial here. I'm just stating the facts, right? I really wanted this thing to be awesome. I really wanted to build a Class 1 or Class 2 crawler with it. But unfortunately, you know, I'm just not overly impressed. I'm not impressed at all, actually. I think, you know, Axial really missed the mark here. They had the potential to do something very great, and they missed it. I would state that, you know, looking at all of these other we'll say smaller businesses that build the chassis kits and things for the competition crawlers that this is targeted for. Some of these kits are just like this, except way less, and they're the same price. and they're sold out everywhere. So I think that honestly, if Axial would have taken the time, built a good kit that came with a body, wheels and tires, and doesn't even have to come with wheels and tires, came with a body, a more rounded truck with better quality pieces, I would have no problem paying for a ready to run truck without electronics, you know, up to $700 or $800. I mean, that's that's the reality of the situation. I don't want to go and piece together multiple vendors and multiple sites. I don't want to go and piece together frame rails or shock mounts or whatever the case is. I want a complete kit that's ready to run right out of the box that's going to just work. That is what I was hoping this was, and it is not. It might work. It might work for a short period of time, but I think that, you know, overall with the quality control issues, that, you know, I'm just not, you know, I'm not a fan. So I haven't actually crawled with it yet. That'll be in a video coming soon. We will put it against the TRX4 Sport and the Vanquish Phoenix RTR. We'll see the difference between the two. But yeah, overall, again, not overly impressed. I think that, you know, there could be a lot of this could have been really great. Unfortunately, if it was me personally, I would go a different route. Speaking of different routes, we're going to buy the Rock Pirate chassis, and we're going to buy a Phoenix RTR, and we're going to put those two together, and we're going to build a budget crawler. Be on the lookout for that. We will be using the stock ESC and the stock motor. We'll get a budget-friendly servo for steering. We'll move the steering servo for overdrive, and yeah, we will do a comparison on the budget-friendly crawler versus the SCX10 Pro. So be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, again, I'm sorry for the disappointing news. It is what it is. Unfortunately, I really wished, or I really hoped that it was perfect or was something better than it is, especially for the price point. But unfortunately, to me, it's not. So I'll let you be the judge. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.